Assuming you're searching for hex cost expectation scores for 2024, 2024, 2025, 2030 and need to know where the costs of hex will go from here on out. We will investigate the previous costs of hex and we'll figure out what specialists are talking about its future cost activities. If it's not too much trouble, remember that you really want to take this expectation and each and every forecast with the goal that this is just the idea of some market master investigators. Also, foreseeing something so wonderful is totally unthinkable. However, we will make an honest effort. We should begin. As per the most recent information accumulated, the ongoing cost of hex is $0.016 and hex is presently positioned #3D 662 in the whole crypto environment. The dissemination supply of hex is 0 with a market cap of $0. In the beyond 24 hours, the crypto has been diminished by 4.9% in its ongoing worth. Assuming we look at the ongoing business sector cap of the hex with yesterday's, you can see that the market cap is additionally down. From most recent 7 days, the hex was in great vertical pattern and expanded by 26.7%. Hex has shown areas of strength for extremely recently, and this could be decent an open door to dive right in and contribute. Hex Benefit Number Cruncher is a free instrument that permits you to quickly assess the exhibition of your hex property by computing possible benefits and misfortunes in light of fluctuating business sector costs. Just enter the sum you have contributed, the purchasing cost, and the sell value, expense, and our hex mini computer will wrap up. We foresee future hex cost expectation checks gauged by applying profound man-made reasoning helped specialized examination on the past value information of hex. We give a valiant effort to gather greatest verifiable information for the hex coin, which incorporate numerous boundaries like past cost, hex market cap, hex volume, and not many more. On the off chance that you are hoping to put resources into advanced digital forms of money and need great profit from your ventures, try to peruse our expectations. Hex Value Forecast Rundown. Hex is at present evaluated at $0.016 on the lookout. The negative cost expectation for hex in 2025 is $0.028, with a likely high of $0.035. Long Haul Investigation proposes that hex cost might actually flood to $1.42 by 2050, with a likely reach somewhere in the range of $1.36 and $1.55. The cost of one hex would reach as high as $0.0232 by 2030. Hex is determined to arrive at a typical cost of $0.9468 toward the finish of 2040. Hex Value Forecast 2024. Hex cost is figured to arrive at a least conceivable degree of $0.02 in 2024. According to our discoveries, the hex cost could arrive at a most extreme conceivable degree of $0.022 with the typical estimate cost of $0.021. Hex Value Expectation 2025. The cost of hex is anticipated to reach at least worth of $0.028 in 2025. The hex cost could arrive at a greatest worth of $0.035 with a typical exchanging cost of $0.029 all through 2025. Hex Value Estimate for 2026. Hex cost is estimate to arrive at a least conceivable degree of $0.042 in 2026. According to our discoveries, the hex cost could arrive at a most extreme conceivable degree of $0.049 with the typical estimate cost of $0.043. Hex Value Expectation 2027. As per our profound specialized examination on past value information of hex, in 2027 the cost of hex is anticipated to reach at the very least degree of $0.063. The hex cost can arrive at a greatest degree of $0.072 with the typical exchanging cost of $0.064. Hex Value Forecast 2028. According to the estimate and specialized examination, in 2028 the cost of hex is supposed to reach at the very least value worth of $0.091. The hex cost can arrive at a most extreme value worth of $0.0109 with the typical worth of $0.094. Hex Value Expectation 2029. According to the conjecture cost and specialized examination, in 2029 the cost of hex is anticipated to reach at least degree of $0.0135. The hex cost can arrive at a most extreme degree of $0.016 with the typical exchanging cost of $0.0139. Hex Value Expectation 2030. The cost of hex is anticipated to reach at least degree of $0.0186 in 2030. The hex cost can arrive at a greatest degree of $0.0232 with the typical cost of $0.0192 all through 2030. Hex Value Gauge 2031. The cost of one hex is supposed to reach at any rate level of $0.0263 in 2031. The hex cost can arrive at a most extreme degree of $0.0319 with the typical cost of $0.0271 all through 2031. Hex Value Forecast 2032. The cost of hex is anticipated to reach at the very least worth of $0.038 in 2032. The hex cost could arrive at a most extreme worth of $0.0441 with the typical exchanging cost of $0.393 all through 2032. Hex Value Forecast 2033. As per our profound specialized examination on past value information of hex, in 2033 the cost of hex is gauged to be at around a base worth of $0.0546. The hex value worth can arrive at a limit of $0.653 with a typical exchanging worth of $0.0566 in West. Hex Value Gauge 2040. The reception and genuine use instances of a digital money are similarly indispensable contemplations. Projects with viable applications and far-reaching reception are bound to persevere over the long haul. According to the hex cost conjecture for 2040, hex is expected to arrive at a most extreme value worth of $1.06 in 2040. The base anticipated cost of hex coin in 2040 is supposed to be around $0.8778, while the typical cost of the hex for 2040 is projected to be $0.9468. Hex value figure for 2050. Understanding business sector patterns and feelings is pivotal, however opinion can be flighty. Looking at current market elements can offer experiences into potential cost developments, yet taking into account the more extensive ecosystem is fundamental. In 2050, the most extreme cost of hex is supposed to reach $1.55, with a typical exchanging worth of $1.42. The base cost is projected to be around $1.36. Hex Value Conjecture Facts. What is the eventual fate of hex? The eventual fate of hex is exceptionally subject to the general presentation of the crypto business. With regards to putting resources into hex, you want to ensure that you are utilizing the right system. This sort of venture isn't appropriate for those with an awry gamble profile. Be that as it may, in any case a great venture for those who have a high capacity to bear risk and a strong monetary position. Notwithstanding its theoretical nature, hex likewise offers openness to a worldwide innovation and a consistently developing environment. How high can hex go? The typical cost of hex could go to $0.021 before the current year's over. Assuming we gauge the 5-year plan, it is assessed that the coin will effectively come to the $0.094 mark. What amount really does hex cost in 2025? The cost of hex will increment as additional